Welcome, welcome, welcome. This week we're actually going to be switching gears. We're going to be talking about triangles. But before we do, I'm just going to come back, and today's video lesson is actually on something from last unit. Some of you had said that you were having some issues with the last IXL. And rather than spend 30 minutes and still not understand it or have to look it up, if you didn't get it, I'm going to talk about that a little bit today, so that way you can go back and get full credit for that assignment. Your assignments today are to watch an Edpuzzle video on triangle inequality and an IXL that's based off of that video. You don't have to watch that video before this one. They're unrelated today. These two are related together, so watch the Edpuzzle before you try the IXL. But like I said, this video is more to do with last unit, and I just wanted to clear up some things before we moved on. So, as a warm-up, write an equation for a line that passes through the point 3, -7 and is parallel to the line y equals -4x plus 14. So, if you recall this type of question on your exam and when we did it last week, what we did was, since we're parallel to this line, all we're going to do is steal the slope. So this has a slope of -4, and any line that's parallel to this also has a slope of -4. So I'm literally just going to rip the slope from that equation, and I'm going to use this point in order to find my my y-intercept. So I write y equals mx plus b. The y is -7 equals the m that I'm using is -4 because, like I said, it's parallel to this equation, to this line, so it must have the same slope. The x is 3, and we are trying to find the b that we don't know. -7 equals -12 plus b. In order to solve for b, we're going to add 12 to both sides, and we find that 5 equals b. So now if we know that 5 equals b, or b equals 5, and we know that the slope is -4, the equation is y equals -4x plus 5. And that's our answer. Okay? Well, on that IXL, that was something that it was parallel and perpendicular usually go together. We only were doing parallel on our quiz or on our test, so I pulled back and didn't teach perpendicular, but I forgot that the IXL talked about perpendicular, so I'm going to go ahead and teach you about perpendicular lines today and perpendicular slopes. All right, so if we look at this slope, if we wanted to do a slope that's perpendicular to this line, it would have to cross at a 90-degree angle. All right. Well, if I'm looking at my axes, my x and my y axis, they cross at 90-degree angles, but the problem is I can't just use that to compare slopes because the x-axis is a 0 slope and the y-axis is an undefined slope. So that doesn't help. Then sometimes people will say we start with a slope of 1, and we say, all right, well, if I had a slope of -1, now I'm crossing at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so we have here m equals 1, and here we have m equals -1, and they cross at a 90-degree angle. So then we start to think maybe we just need the opposite slope. So here, if we look at this slope right here, this is a slope of up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, 2. I think it's supposed to be up 1 over 2, but it just went up a little. It went a little bit haywire. Right? Oh no, it's up 1, 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a slope of 2 over 5. So let's check maybe a perpendicular slope, and that's your sign for perpendicular. Maybe your perpendicular slope is -2 over 5. Let's check it. So it definitely, if I have a positive slope, it has to be a negative slope in order to be perpendicular. But let's see if it's just the opposite. So now I can start anywhere. and I go down 1, so I'll start here, and I'll go down 1, 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, does that look like it creates a perpendicular line? No, it does not. So it's not that it's opposite. So that kind of that's a bummer, right? So that didn't work. So it's not just opposite. What it actually turns out to be, because obviously I need to be going down more in order to get that 9-degree angle. So that was too shallow of a slope. So watch what we do if I pick any slope. And now I know I'm going to go down, but let's go down. Instead of down 2 over 5, what if we go down 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 2. 1, 2. Well, would you look at that? That's a 90-degree angle right there. So what can we conclude about the perpendicular slope is actually negative 5 over 2. So what can we conclude? In order to have a perpendicular slope, the rise over run is going to be the opposite reciprocal. So if you have a slope of 3, the perpendicular slope equals negative 1 over 3, because 3 is just 3 over 1. If we have a slope of half, the perpendicular slope is negative 2, or negative 2 over 1. Same thing. It's the opposite reciprocal is your perpendicular slope. So if you want to write an equation of any line that is perpendicular to this line and passes through this point, the first thing you're going to do, just like parallel, is we're going to first steal the slope. So if this slope is negative 5, then the perpendicular slope is positive 1/5. And it also passes through the point 2, negative 1. So what I do is y equals mx plus b. Negative 1 equals 1/5 times 2 plus b. Negative 1 equals 2/5 plus b. Subtract 2/5 from both sides. And we find that negative 1 and 2/5 equals b. So if that's b, and we know that this is our m, we can write y equals 1/5 x minus 1 and 2/5. And that's our equation for a line that's perpendicular and passes through that point. Here, if it's perpendicular to this equation, then if this slope is 2, the perpendicular slope must be negative 1 over 2. And since it passes through this point here, we're going to use that as an x and a y value. And we're going to use that to find the b. So we get 3 equals negative half times 5 plus b. 3 equals times negative 5, equals positive 2.5 plus b. I subtract 2.5 from both sides, and I find that half is my b. So my b is half, my m is negative half, so it's y equals negative half x plus half, and that's my equation. Perpendicular slopes are opposite reciprocals. You just have to use the opposite sign and flip your fraction. If it's not a fraction, make it into a fraction by putting it over 1. Okay? Good luck. Like I said, the Ed puzzle video is on triangle inequality. It's going to go toward what we're doing in the future. And the IXL is based off that Edpuzzle video, okay? So wait to do the IXL until after you've watched the Edpuzzle video. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.